It's ugly, it's dark, it's uncomfortable, and you have to do it. You have to heal alone. Nobody can heal for you. Nobody can do the shadow work for you. Nobody can cleanse your own physical body for you. You have to do the work alone. There's a reason why solitude is required when it comes to the spiritual path. There's a reason why you'll see all the gurus, the teachers, doesn't matter which philosophy, which religion, whatever it is, requires a amount of solitude, peace, serenity, right? Because we're getting into contemplation. The difference between thinking with your ego, right, and contemplating these ideas that are, more complex than the ego could ever comprehend. Now we're getting into the good stuff of life. And this doesn't come from college or any degree that you could get from the intellect. I'm talking about going beyond the intellect. And this is a very difficult thing if you don't have a spiritual practice or if you don't have anything that is rooting you into the divine. So that's the question. How do you connect with the divine? How do you talk to God? How do you go deeper into that relationship with yourself, the creator, you, the omnipresent one, the starseed, the light worker, the chosen one? What are you going to do to connect with this energy more? And the answer always comes from your higher self, which is not coming from the place of the intellect. In order to activate that higher self connection, you have to be alone. I'm not talking about isolation. I'm not talking about removing yourself permanently from society. Don't get my words twisted here. Do not make the mistake, because we need community. We need to have one another, right? Now let's think about our most recent realized being, right? Yeshua, or Jesus, as he's referred to in the Christian religion, right? Now, this person, right, came down here, incarnated, right here, right, as a master, ascended master, right? A human being embodying the light. Right? And what did he do? He only had 12 disciples, right? He only chose these 12 people to talk about this type of stuff, right? Spirituality, higher consciousness, fasting, detoxing, vegetarianism, right? All of these things were only talked about within that very knit group of 12 people, right? For a reason. You see what I'm saying? You see the point I'm getting to here? Now, it's not that the most of humanity, wouldn't value this information. It's just, at that point in time, it would actually be a disservice because these ideas were too complex, right? Now, let's get into something that we call a miracle, right? An airplane going through the sky is a miracle. You and I with this beating heart in our chest is a miracle. Everything is a miracle, depending on your perception, right? So it all comes back down to your perception of reality. Now, circling back to you being alone, how do you change your perception? How do you change your reality? You have to be the one who's connected with your higher self to actually get that new perception of reality. Nobody can come up to you and tell you that the sky is red, and all of a sudden you're going to start seeing the sky as a different color. Nobody can come up to you and say, oh, just do this, and then follow, and then everything will be just as they did it. No. In fact, that's not possible. Even if you gave them exactly the same substance or drink of water or piece of food, the body is literally going to react differently. We are all on our own unique journey. The sooner you start embracing that uniqueness, the more peaceful and calm and serenity and these feelings of higher consciousness will actually start to creep into your life. Before that, it's all about resistance and the ego trying to battle your way through it all and figure everything out because you have pressure from your parents and pressure from your family of who you should be. Get a good college degree, go get a good job, go make some babies, go be happy, right? And guess what? All of these things are ensured to make you not happy. Just remember that, because everything is temporary. Everything in this material universe is temporary, and the true immortality lies within. The true self, the higher self, the immortal self lies within. Call it the spirit soul, call it whatever you want. Just know that there is a deeper part of yourself that needs to be activated through that solitude, through that contemplation state, and that connection with the divine. Every time I've been closest to that energy is when I've been in the wildest places in my life, in Alaska, here in Hawaii, going into, Thailand, traveling the globe. Like, I've seen so many mystical places in my life. And the ones that were the farthest removed from society were the most tapped in. You don't see people having these Kundalini experiences in the middle of a downtown city, right? You don't see people worshiping these temples, right? You see people worshiping temples and political figures. No, You see people going into churches, you see. Now for me, nature is this cathedral. Nature is my church. Everything can be that opportunity for you to connect if you allow it. You see, this is something that you have to allow into your life that is not going to happen automatically. So I encourage you to blossom this relationship with the divine. Go deeper into you, the truth that is you, your truth, your own unique truth. Nobody can tell you it. Nobody can read it from scripture or from some holy book or not holy book. It doesn't matter. You have to experience that truth if you want to free yourself from the limitations of the separation of consciousness, which is why we incarnated here in the first place. You see, there's a part of you that thinks it's separate. Therefore, you had to come down right here in physical form and experience that separateness just so you can experience the oneness at the end to finally merge and have the yoga and the union finally once and for all. To end those samsara, to end that cycle of birth and death, to actually come in tune with the real infinite version of yourself. Isn't it exhausting thinking about it? Growing through this baby body, growing through puberty, being a teenager, finally making it to adulthood, to finally learn these lessons, right? And look at most of humanity lost in the personality, lost and trapped by the five senses, not being able to perceive a reality beyond it. You see, because that it that you think are your thoughts are not you. That it which you think is the body which you're identifying through those five senses is not you. So keep going and remember that all of these things are just little roadblocks, right? And you have to perceive reality and go over those speed bumps and go through the roadblocks because that's life. You see, those roadblocks are there, and actually they were put there on purpose by your higher self, strategically and perfectly. So let's just stop resisting all of these upgrades and finally get in tune with that higher consciousness. That's all of our homework. Because wherever you feel triggered, wherever you're getting emotional, wherever you're getting overwhelmed in life, that's where the work needs to be done. You see? And you going into that aloneness, you going deeper into those feelings is actually the solution. We can't spiritual bypass and avoid them or blame somebody else and play the victim. No, you're never the victim. You created it. You are the one that's here to wake up. You are the one that's here to go beyond that matrix control. So let's do it. Let's finally do it once and for all. Until next time, guys, infinite love, infinite peace.